Hi, this is Cora here. This is one of my something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I'm tying it in with my experience, my recent experience, and I've been examining this for a long time, and so this is how it's coming out in a YouTube script. And I'm in the process of writing a paper. This isn't the title of it. It's a long paper about institutions and how they work and how their oversight bodies work, and how really they're failing. The oversight system that we have is failing accountability and democracy, and eroding trust. It's not working. Our oversight system is not working, and I can only see the solution is to move to arbitration first. But I mean, what politician do we ever hear talking about that, or do we ever hear any legal person talking about arbitration first? Very, very few people talk about the desperate or the dire need for a new system of governance, So this is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm examining it for years, and it's I'm putting it together now in various papers, and I'm writing a long paper at the moment, trying to get all the points together, in plain language. So this particular perspective is just covers aspects of this, because really it's about what's the solution. Identifying the problem by years and years of observation and research, and then what would be the best solution. So this is just identifying the problem, I suppose. So the title of this video is Oversight or Control. How institutional narcissism is breaking democracy. We're living through a time when trust in our institutions, in our media, in democracy itself is wearing dangerously thin. And I can see it from all the people, the fantastic comments from everybody. I mean, the people that come into my YouTube station are they're top brass. There's no question, they're top brass. They're great thinkers. I mean, they have to be. They're very. I have great faith in their abilities. Everywhere we look, the systems designed to protect the system seem more interested in protecting themselves. Oversight has become performance. Accountability has become theatre. And truth, the foundation of democracy, is being quietly managed out of existence. I mean, that's the sad reality. For years, I've studied how institutions respond to scrutiny. That this is by, personal living experience, how they act when they're challenged, exposed, or asked to tell the truth. And what I've seen is not simple failure, it's design. Institutions are structured to defend themselves. They hire lawyers, PR advisors, so-called independent investigators whose job is not to find truth, but to manage risk. The result, a system that on paper appears inverted commas accountable, but really is a wall of mirrors. This is what I'm calling institutional narcissism, the belief that the system itself must always be right. Like a narcissistic individual, the institution gaslights anyone who questions it. It denies, deflects, and reflames. It says, we followed procedure even when the procedure is the problem. And when there are possibly no procedures, it apologises for any distress caused while denying responsibility for the harm itself. And it never, ever admits fault, because doing so would crack the illusion of perfection it depends on. Does that resonate with people? Across counties, in health systems, universities, banks, government departments, we see the same problem. For example, we have TUSLA, we have the HSE, we have all these institutions that are, I'm not saying the HSE, but we say particularly TUSLA now is a good example of where, there's huge problems. Oversight bodies are understaffed, under-resourced, and over-controlled. The watchdogs are muzzled, and the Ombudsman Office, once meant to be a conscience of democracy, have become extensions of the very institutions they should hold to account. Sadly, that seems to be the case. This is not accountability, it's containment. Nowhere is this more visible than in our politics. We are told that elections are fair, that debate is open, and the media is free. But have a look closer. Who decides which voices get heard, who owns the platforms that shape public opinion, who benefits when only a narrow range of candidates are taken seriously, while others are dismissed as unrealistic or fringe, or even worse words were used in the media about some independent candidates recently by an Oxford graduate, a right so-and-so from allegedly the university, one of the universities around, and he quickly removed it when he was told it was, but it went all around. I mean, typical Oxford, kind of, I wonder how smart he is, this fellow is. I wonder, a law lecturer, I actually wonder how smart he is if he's talking like that. He's an upstart, in my opinion, allegedly. At least I put alleged before what he describes the independent candidates. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a culture of control that protects the powerful and sidelines anyone who challenges the script. When institutions can never be wrong, truth becomes negotiable. Defence itself becomes a weapon of accountability. Every inquiry, every review, every statement of lessons learned becomes part of the defence mechanism. The institution says, look, we're being transparent, but what it really thinks, we're deciding what truth is. But the essence of institutional coercive control, the same pattern of denial and dominance seen in narcissistic abuse, only on a societal scale. It is the quiet violence of bureaucracy, the use of process to exhaust, silence and outlast the truth. Not just process, but a huge amount of money. And who pays the price? Ordinary people, truth tellers, whistleblowers, those researchers, those who speak out because they still believe that democracy means something. They are often isolated, discredited, or broken down by the very systems that claim to protect them. Now, I've come across, people recently who have contacted me saying they're destroyed. They're destroyed. That is just shocking, really. This is not democracy; it's domination disguised as due process. But it doesn't have to be this way. What if instead of defining institutions, we focused on repairing trust? What if accountability meant care, not control? Imagine a system where the first response to a complaint isn't legal defence, but arbitration first. Open dialogue, guided by ethical mediators and psychological experts. A system that sees problems as opportunities to learn and heal, rather than threats to be buried. That's what democracy should be, the courage to listen, to change, to care. Democracy will not survive on bureaucracy, on paperwork. It survives on trust, and trust is built when truth is honoured. The choice is ours. Continue the performance of Oversight or rediscover its purpose. Because Oversight was never meant to shield power. It was meant to serve people. And the moment we remember that, democracy begins to breathe again. So that's where I'm going to finish, and I'm writing a paper at the moment called When Oversight Becomes Obstruction, and this is just some of the points raised in that. Very, very, edited. It's quite a long paper, and so I hope this has given you some feed for thought. And some city councillor said I had no ideas. I'm sorry, he's the one dividing ideas. Because where are his real ideas except for lining his own pockets and staying in control? Anyway, I don't know who he is, but he's right. He's a right ignoramus, whoever he is. I don't really like using those kind of words about people, but he just doesn't know his facts. And I'd like to see his qualifications and his research experience and his insights and all of that. I'm sure there is anything there wouldn't be a place compared to me. So I won't say who he is, but he was having a right dig at a right dig yesterday on X, and I am very, very cautious about X. Really, I'm very, very cautious. So I would be very nervous. It's a lot of narcissistic carry on there. It's desperate. Everyone is a genius on X. This kind of thing. No, they're not. There's very few, believe me. I've done a quick check over the last few days. It needs a few brains in there, I'd say. Anyway, truth. It needs a bit of truth in the middle of it. But people can say what they like, but are they telling the truth? If they're telling, I don't know. I'd be far more confident in in the truth in my videos than anything. Most of what I've encountered on X. But everybody's entitled to their opinion, and it's a free platform for free speech and where it comes. But free speech doesn't equal truth. But that's the way it is. But it's all agendas. It's full of agendas and people with agendas. So no, I don't see it as independent in that sense. But it's independent, I suppose. Less people kind of more or less say what they like, modulo certain restrictions, I suppose. But I haven't had any problem with it. Only trying to I'm just examining it, and I'm at the moment not too impressed. No. But I'm investigating it at the moment, and I'll figure it out in time to come. So that's the story, and thanks very much for listening. And I think tomorrow we're going to get there's been kind of media silence. Like, it's like bullying the judge. The media are trying to bully the judge, I think. I mean, they won't bully me. They have bullied all of all these tactics have been a kind of form of bullying. The rigging of the election, that's all been bullying of all the independents. I mean, and it's repeated. It's not just one bullying, but every time you go to these things, it's repeated bullying. So we could have a case of bullying against the state. All the independents who didn't get any media coverage were unfairly treated. But is that the answer? No. It would be better if we had the arbitration first. But I think we'd have the serious case. But there'll be more cases if this election goes through. I think if the election, I think there's more harm will be done if the election goes through than not harm, and that's the whole issue about the balance of convenience. And well, that's out of my hands to make the decision on that one. So on the balance of convenience, it's my opinion that it would be less harmful for the election to be paused than the other way around, on the balance of convenience, which equals the balance of justice. So that would be my opinion. But of course, I'm not in a position of power to make that decision, and no way. I've put my case forward. I don't think we could have put a better case. I don't think any state senior counsel would have put a better case to the state. I actually don't think there's anybody in Ireland that would have put a better case to the state, a more detailed, comprehensive, because when you're in the kind of process, you know it even better than from the outside, so when you're kind of, when you've had that kind of extra experience of going around, you had that extra edge. But not only that, we had the forensic, we had the understanding of the Constitution, we had the expertise in terms of intellectual rigour, we really had the rigour, we had the knowledge, with the expertise, we had the I think we were very balanced. But the balance the balance of convenience, I think, almost certainly lies on our side. But unfortunately, we can't decide, because this could be a political decision. This could be not. I mean, I think some of the criticisms are that some of the previous complaints are about politics. But what about the decision? If the decision was more about politics than law, I mean, what does that say? So that's out of our hands. There is a thing called separation of powers, but it's really hasn't ever been tested. It'll definitely be tested tomorrow morning. The whole issue of separation of powers will be tested tomorrow, when the decision on the balance of convenience, which way that goes, will be decided. So do we have a functioning democracy? If we have a functioning democracy, we have a proper separation of powers, and we abide by that authority, which is not should not be influenced by the media or politics or a particular government. It should the person making the decision should uphold his or her duties in that office, and not be influenced or bullied by government or media, or silenced by government or media, or controlled by silence and sort of thing. Given the silent treatment, this is the way this is the narcissistic control. But I've no power over how this goes. But I can see how even a judge could be manipulated or forced or bullied in this way by these tactics. Never mind the applicants and that kind of thing. I understand narcissistic control, so I just say that's narcissistic control. I don't like it, but it's people are saying the media are corrupt in inverted commas. They're not all corrupt, but I suppose people don't like change too. There's that element. They're comfortable the way they are. They don't like change. I mean, are we at rock bottom really in terms of public trust? We're close enough to it, I think. I mean, I'm only investigating this now as a researcher, so I'm just speaking what I'm talking to people. And I'm just the vehicle for communicating what I'm hearing. So I'm learning a lot of it because I'm reading what I'm reading, and I'm just sort of putting it forward to the judiciary on behalf of all the people I'm hearing. So that's the end of my video, and so we'll go back to the title again, because I have a lot of I've been years trying to understand this. This whole part of psychology, the dark tetrad. It's very well explained by the wonderful Jordan Peterson, and then there are various. There's a new treatment program called Treating Narcissism from the University of Harvard, and perhaps maybe that's the way. It's very good, really. I know how it's a very good program, and it only has come out in 2024. Called Treating Narcissism. So, oversight or control, how institutional narcissism is breaking democracy. And my name is Dr. Cora M, and we await with bated breath whether tomorrow is going to be ruled by politics or ruled by the laws of the state, which say the separation of powers should be something that is upheld by the person given the authority in that position at a particular time, and it should not be influenced by politics or media or media collusion or political collusion. But I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I have concerns, because I've talked to a number of people who have said something similar. So this is major. Now this is a major issue where the separation of powers really has to stand up for itself. That's sad, isn't it? They're supposed to be kind of some kind of supremacy. They have to stand up for themselves, but I can't make them. So thanks very much, and thank you all for your wonderful comments. And I mean, they're so uplifting. The comments you've made are incredibly uplifting and wonderful. And if only we could start, get some kind of a change, a small change even. And that small change would be asking what we're not asking for very much. We're asking what is we're based it on all the facts now. We've covered every angle. I mean, there's nothing we really haven't covered. We've hit them on everything. I mean, especially there was standing press there, because the amount of evidence we had was absolutely massive. We've hit them every possible. It's been forensic, thorough, and it comes from personal experience as well. So it's incredible, and there's an incredible in it, an incredible story, and it's all been kept out of the media, and all this other nonsense is in it. Nonsense, or I wouldn't call it nonsense, but very low level, very low level debate, in my opinion. And our debate is so superior compared to theirs, and they've just written us off and excluded us to try and bully the judge. That's how I see it. Bully the judge and put fear into him of siding with us. I see it as not just bullying us. I mean, all the independents, bar one or two who toe the line in inverted commas, were given a lot of praise, but I know they mightn't toe the line with the powers that be were sidelined, in my opinion. But that's bullying. But you see, this is the whole problem of the narcissistic control. Narcissistic people that are narcissistic people are known to be terrible bullies, and it's their way or the highway. And if you fall out with them, this is what they do to you. They sideline you, and they try and stitch you up in every possible way, and they'll do anything to get their way and to destroy your lives. And that's what they do. That's what they do. They destroy whistleblowers' lives and researchers who I mean, I'm only now looking at institutions and how they're, how institutional oversight is failing. And it's almost inevitably failing, because there's so little resources there that they're always right. And then what's happened is the oversight body now is almost invariably taking the side of the institution. Sure, that's no oversight at all, and that's no accountability. So that's the story, and we'll see you next time. And until next time, take great care, and I hope these videos have been useful and insightful, and have encouraged and people might read some of my papers, and that would be great, on academia.ie. And I have to thank the wonderful Dr. Richard Price, because it's the only journal I will now put up my papers on. Absolutely, the only journal I will trust to put up my papers on. That yeah. Okay, thanks very much. Take care. Bye.